In the last 3 months, I have learned a lot about custom mechanical keyboards and how hard it can be to build a keyboard with an ISO layout. In fact, it is so annoying and costly that I would recommend to switch to the ANSI layout, but later in the video more on that. In this video I want to tell you what I've learned and correct some things I said in my last video about mechanical keyboards. So let's go. To quickly summarize, in my last video I talked about how you need to buy different parts for your keyboard from different websites, which is true. I talked about how you need to watch out for customs and shipping, which is partially true. I said that one of the hardest parts to get are the keycaps, which is definitely true. I also said that PBT keycaps are better than ABS keycaps, which is definitely false. And that you should buy keycaps you want instantly if they are in stock, which is true as well. Especially if they have the ISO keycaps you need, more on that later in the video. And then I talked about how lubing is worth it most of the time, which is true, and that I will definitely try to only buy hot swap keyboards in the future, which is also true. Last but not least, I said that switching to a smaller sized keyboard is no problem at all, which is true. But my main keyboard at the moment is a 60% keyboard, and after 3 months of using it, I have to say it's too small for me. My next keyboard will be the Bubble 75, which is an exploded 75% design. I really need my arrow keys, and some F keys are also handy sometimes. But enough of my last video, let's start with what I've learned. First thing I've learned is that everything in this hobby takes its time. Sometimes the parts you want are not available, sometimes you can only pre-order, and sometimes the only way to get what you want is a group buy, which in itself can take up to 1 year until you get your product. If you have no time, this hobby is not for you. That is my first lesson. I mentioned in my last video that you need to buy different parts for your keyboard on different websites, and that is definitely still the case. You have to buy what you need whenever it is available, wherever it is available, because most offers are limited in quantity. Sometimes you have to wait months until a specific switch or specific stabilizers are in stock again, so buy them if you can. What I've also learned is that for some things you have to join group buys. If you want a specific keyboard or a specific keycap set, a group buy is the cheapest and safest option to get what you want, if you have the time, because this group buys can take some time. Fortunately, a lot of group buys are hosted by vendors all around the globe, so that you can save some bucks on shipping and customs. Which brings us to the next topic. I said you need to be careful with shipping and customs, and that's totally still a thing. For example, I just missed the Novel Keys 87 Entry Edition release. The colorway I wanted was sold out in 1 hour. It would have cost me $135, and if I would have bought it, it would have cost me around 200 euros, all because of customs and shipping. But that is a specific case, cause it is only sold in the US, so I have to buy it at Novel Keys. So sometimes you need to go on the hunt for websites in your region that sell keyboard parts. In Europe, where I live, for example, there are a few vendors like mykeyboard.eu, candykeys.com, keygem.store or oblotsky.industries, to name a few. If you buy parts on these websites, you most likely only need to pay the local shipping. Group buys of keycaps or even keyboards are often hosted on these sites, and if you participate, you save customs and only pay local shipping, which is great. Some keyboards that go for group buy have the option to ship with an ISO PCB, but you have to look closely, and not every keyboard is compatible with the ISO layout. Sometimes the ISO layout do not feature hot swap, so take a look at that as well. But the hardest part in building a keyboard with an ISO layout is not to find the keyboard itself, it is to find the keycaps you need for your specific language. Most keycap sets by more premium manufacturers are compatible with the ISO layout, but only with the English one. If you want keycaps with language-specific legends, boy oh boy, you are in some trouble. From what I have learned in the past 3 months, it really is just luck to find a keycap set that supports international legends. There are some cheap keycap sets on Amazon, and sometimes a random set will have the keys you need, but the quality of that sets is most of the time not that good. The molding techniques for the keycaps and the printing techniques for the legends are most likely not the best. If you look at the more premium keycap sets, you can be more lucky with international support. From what I understand, the best chance to get a GMK or EPBT keycap set with international support is a group buy. You have to buy the base kit of the set you want, plus the international add-on set, if there even is one. So you have to pay a hefty price for the few special keycaps you need. You have to figure out if this is worth it for you. That is one of the reasons why I recommend to switch to the ANSI layout. It is cheaper, you have more choice, and it's compatible with nearly every kind of keyboard. If you don't know, GMK and EPBT are both considered as premium manufacturers for custom keycap sets. GMK produces ABS keycaps and EPBT produces PBT keycaps. There are differences in sound and feeling of the materials, but ABS plastic is not better than PBT plastic, and PBT plastic is not better than ABS plastic. They are just two different materials with different properties, and you have to pick which one you prefer. I will link some good videos that explain the difference better than me in the video description. But I would recommend buying higher priced keycap sets if you can afford them, because you will have thicker material and better quality legends on the keycaps. Thicker material is better because it has an impact on sound and feeling while typing. And if you have a keycap set that many people want, you can even sell them in aftermarket if you do not want them anymore. But definitely try to gain as much knowledge about the manufacturer before you buy a keycap set from them. For example, you can watch keycap reviews from this specific manufacturer on YouTube. Sometimes higher price doesn't mean higher quality, sometimes it does. So make your research on that. Lastly, I figured out what an amazing community the custom keyboard community is. There are many great people on YouTube that make keyboard related content, and that is something that drags me even deeper into the hobby. So if you have some money to burn, come join us and build your own custom mechanical keyboard. I can tell you it is 100% worth it. That was more or less everything I know about custom mechanical keyboards. If you have any questions related to the ISO keyboards, to the ISO layout, to language specific keycaps, let me know in the comments and I will try to answer them as soon as possible. I wish you all the best, have a great rest of the day and stay safe.